Anna hurried from the house, her unsteady hands gripping her flimsy coat with urgency. The biting wind shrieked through the open fields, yet nothing could deter her as she sprinted boldly toward the barn. The heavy darkness enveloped her surroundings, with merely the soft glow of the lantern swaying outside the barn, illuminating the night like a far-off lighthouse, beckoning her nearer. She paused before the imposing wooden door, her heart racing with such intensity that it seemed on the verge of breaking free from her chest. Within the confines of the space, the gentle yet purposeful sound of hooves shifting resonated, as though the horse anticipated her arrival, or perhaps possessed an innate awareness of her approach. Anna eased the door open, the creaking hinges cutting through the heavy silence that enveloped the room. Stellan loomed before her, a figure of grandeur, his piercing black eyes fixed intently upon her. With a deep breath, she approached the horse, each step measured and intentional. The atmosphere in the barn was thick, each inhalation and every subtle shift imbued with a weighty importance that eluded her understanding. "So, you were anticipating my arrival, were you?" Her voice emerged as a mere whisper, gentle as a secret shared in the dark. Stellan inclined his head ever so slightly, a subtle movement that seemed to convey a response. In his gaze, there lingered a depth of understanding, a silent communication, that rendered Anna motionless, captivated and unable to divert her eyes. After years of longing, she finally felt a sense of being truly seen and heard, a profound experience that had eluded her with Lucas. An intense wave of feeling swept over her, a blend of solace and danger. As she extended her hand, it glided over Stellan's mane, the warmth of his body flowing into her fingertips. An electric current surged through her spine, and in that instant, she understood that her life had changed forever. The wind outside howled relentlessly. Yet Anna remained oblivious to its cries. All that surrounded her dissolved into a hushed stillness. Only she and Stellan remained, entwined in a burgeoning secret that wove its way through the shadows, a flame ready to spark into life. Anna remained motionless in the barn, her fingers lightly brushing against Stellan's mane, her eyes wandering into the far-off emptiness. With her eyes shut, she took a deep breath, allowing the aromas of parched hay, moist soil, and the gentle warmth of the horse beside her to envelop her senses. In this serene sanctuary, she sensed a profound escape from it all, the frigid, soulless home, Lucas's empty gazes, and the relentless solitude that had gnawed at her spirit for years. Memories surged within her, overwhelming and relentless. Once, Anna held the conviction that love possessed the power to overcome all obstacles. She and Lucas were once a pair of blazing flames, fierce and unyielding, bound together in an unbreakable bond. She recalled the moment they first crossed paths, how Lucas had effortlessly drawn laughter from her, leaving her in tears with his sharp wit and innate charisma. She remembered the lengthy evenings by the fire, exchanging visions of a radiant future. In those days, Lucas vowed to remain by her side, crafting a life together that they could hold dear. Yet, as time flowed onward, those promises transformed into a rare indulgence. Lucas immersed himself in his work, with endless meetings and business trips that dragged on for what felt like an eternity. Anna found it hard to recall the last time they shared a dinner together, free from the constant buzz of his phone. Each time he returned, it felt as though a stranger had stepped through the door. He would enter the room, let his bag fall to the floor, embrace her briefly, and then vanish behind the glow of his laptop screen. Anna had made every effort, truly every effort, to cling on. She crafted intimate dinners, sought to rekindle their past dialogues. Yet Lucas consistently brushed her off with the same tired response. "I find myself utterly exhausted, Anna. Shall we converse at a later time?" Yet the anticipated moment never arrived. She once held the conviction that time possessed the power to mend all wounds, yet it merely deepened the divide that separated them. Lucas was not an ill-intentioned man. He did not embody the traits of infidelity, rage, or neglect in the traditional manner. Yet, his indifference had cast a shadow over Anna, making her feel as though she was gradually vanishing, transforming into a specter within her own marriage. When Lucas acquired Stellan, she believed it was merely another passing fascination of his. Yet Stellan had emerged as the sole beacon of light in Anna's otherwise dreary existence. Within the horse's profound, expressive gaze, she discovered a tranquility that had eluded her for years. Yet, it was more than that. Anna found it impossible to erase the memory of her first encounter with Evelyn, the horse trainer brought on by Lucas. Evelyn was an imposing figure, her keen gaze cutting through every pretense, accompanied by a subtle melancholy that suggested her own hidden scars. Evelyn was not one for many words, yet when she chose to speak, her phrases pierced through the air, striking at the very truths Anna had spent years evading. She recalled that afternoon when she and Evelyn lingered outside the barn, engaged in conversation about Stellan. Evelyn's eyes locked onto hers, a penetrating gaze that seemed to strip away every facade of Anna's being, and then she uttered a phrase that would forever echo in Anna's memory. Horses such as Stellan possess an uncanny ability to perceive truths that humans often deny. At times, it is the solitude that shapes the most profound connection. In that moment, Anna merely offered a polite smile and dismissed it with a wave. Yet now, as she faced Stellan, Evelyn's words resonated in her mind as if they were a foretelling. Though she hesitated to admit it, there was a chance that Evelyn had indeed been correct. It was the profound solitude she felt, the void that Lucas was unable to bridge, that had gradually pulled her towards Stellan, inch by inch. Her fingers glided gently through Stellan's mane, savoring the warmth that radiated beneath her touch. "You know, Stellan," she whispered. "At times, I find myself longing to experience life as a horse, just like you. All is calm, no conflicts to engage in, merely liberation." Stellan remained silent, yet his eyes conveyed a deep understanding. In that instant, Anna experienced a brief wave of relief wash over her. Yet, beneath the surface, she understood that everything was shifting, and there was no possibility of retreat. The silvery glow of the moon cascaded over the fields, casting a gentle light on the slender trail that wound its way to the barn. Anna moved deliberately, each step measured, as if an unseen force beckoned her toward Stellan. The wind intensified, biting with a chill, yet she remained unfazed. Within her, a storm was brewing, both indistinct and all-consuming, as though her heart was beckoning her toward a destination her mind struggled to grasp. The barn door swung ajar, its hinges lamenting softly in the quiet embrace of the night. Stellan lingered, his dark, enigmatic eyes shimmering under the moon's gentle glow. In that instant, Anna sensed the very fabric of her surroundings begin to fade away. Lucas had departed, leaving behind the frigid, detached phone calls and the interminable, solitary evenings that once filled the air. It was just her and Stellan, as if they were intertwined in a bond that needed no words to define it. "You were anticipating my arrival once more, weren't you?" she murmured, her voice reminiscent of a clandestine whisper. She moved nearer, her fingers softly gliding over Stellan's glossy black mane. The horse's warm breath gently caressed her, a soft and silent comfort, offering a quiet reassurance. She caressed him, allowing her fingers to dance over the sleek strands of his coat. A sense of relief washed over her, as if the heavy burden in her chest had been gently lifted, leaving behind a tranquility so unusual it felt almost alien. Yet, in an instant, the atmosphere transformed. Anna found herself unable to remember what had compelled her to take that action. Perhaps it was the way Stellan's eyes captured hers, or the subtle tilt of his head that appeared to recognize her touch. It might have been the tempest within her, the solitude, the longing, and the empty chasm she had failed to satisfy. Her hand lingered on the side of his face, her palms softly resting against his warmth. With her eyes gently shut, she inhaled deeply, savoring the moment. Yet even that breath quivered. Stellan. His name escaped her lips, not as a summons, but as a revelation. The horse moved subtly, bowing his head as though acknowledging an unseen cue. His stance, both still and imbued with insight, enveloped Anna in a sensation that he could decipher the tumultuous thoughts dancing within her mind. His eyes locked onto hers, profound and accepting, asking for nothing, yet so captivating that she found herself unable to turn away. Her breath became increasingly labored. She inched nearer, as if the distance separating them was an intolerable void that yearned to be closed. A prolonged silence enveloped them, heavy with unspoken expectations. Her hand settled on Stellan's chest, sensing the steady, powerful rhythm of his heart beneath her fingertips. Yet within her, a tumultuous rhythm pulsed, poised to disrupt her calm facade. She ceased her thoughts. For the first time in her life, every shred of reason, every concept of morality, and all whispers of logic fell silent. She found herself confronted solely with the unfiltered intensity of her feelings, or maybe a fragment of her being that she had buried for far too long. With a single, tentative step and a subtle shift of her weight, Anna's entire existence unraveled before her eyes. She had transformed into someone unrecognizable. She had shed the weary, empty shell of Anna that she once was. She was a woman enveloped in emotions that were entirely foreign to her. Yet, in that moment, a subtle sound shattered the enchantment. Anna recoiled, as though she had been abruptly pulled from a vivid reverie. A faint shaft of light pierced the darkness of the barn, and in that fleeting moment, her heart froze. Evelyn lingered in the doorway, her keen eyes as piercing as a dagger, locked onto Anna with unwavering intensity. Without uttering a single word, Anna was aware. Evelyn had witnessed it all. The atmosphere within the barn was imbued with a chilling stillness. Evelyn remained still, her face a blend of astonishment and icy deliberation, as if she were assembling the fragments of the tableau she had just encountered. Anna parted her lips, yet silence enveloped her, leaving her words unspoken. Her breath rose in the cold night air, a silent confession lingering in the darkness. Shame, guilt, and fear weighed heavily upon her chest, yet nestled within her, there lingered an unexpected sense of relief. A wave of relief washed over her as the burden of her secret was finally shared, no longer hers to carry alone. Anna. Evelyn's voice pierced the stillness, steady yet resolute. What are you up to? The straightforward inquiry sliced through the atmosphere with precision. Evelyn entered the barn, her steps deliberate yet unhurried. Anna stumbled back, yet Stellan remained steadfast, a solid presence anchoring her amidst the chaos swirling around them. I'm uncertain. Anna faltered, her voice fragile and quivering. Evelyn halted mere feet away, her piercing gaze delving deep into Anna's essence. Are you grasping the direction this is taking? Evelyn inquired, her tone subdued yet each syllable struck with the force of a hammer. You're toying with danger. Anna, and when the flames consume everything, there will be no remnants to recover. Anna found herself at a loss for words. She remained motionless, locked in a gaze with Evelyn, as a tempest of feelings surged within her. She recognized the truth in Evelyn's words. She understood the reality behind those words. Yet, despite that awareness, she found herself unable to halt her actions. Not at this moment. Not when she had already traversed a boundary she once believed she would never breach. Evelyn stood resolutely before Anna, her eyes piercing like a finely honed edge. The oppressive atmosphere in the barn intensified, weighing heavily on Anna, making it seem as though the very air had been stolen from her lungs. She found herself unable to escape the weight of Evelyn's gaze, unable to refute the reality of what had just transpired, and unable to conjure any rationale that could possibly excuse her behavior. Did you honestly believe this would remain hidden, Anna? Evelyn's voice held a calmness, yet it was infused with a simmering intensity. Did you believe that no one would perceive the transformation within you, the shift in your gaze each time you step out of this barn? Anna stepped back, her fingers gripping Stellan's mane, as though it were her sole anchor against the unraveling of her composure. Yet Stellan, the horse she had once thought comprehended her more deeply than anyone else, now remained mute. Stillness enveloped the scene, devoid of sound or motion, as an unseen presence observed from an unattainable distance. I didn't mean to, Anna croaked, her voice raspy and strained. She understood that her words held no significance. She could not refute Evelyn's observation, yet she found herself at a loss for words to express the tumultuous feelings within her, an overwhelming force that carried her off like a tempest she was powerless to withstand. Didn't intend to. Evelyn released a brief, incisive laugh, laced with a touch of bitter irony. Anna, this isn't merely a spontaneous occurrence, it's a deliberate decision, and you are fully aware of your actions. Evelyn's words hit Anna with the force of a physical blow, yet rather than remorse, she sensed herself teetering on the brink of an abyss. The tempest within her, a tumult of shame, anger, and an aching desire, surged, poised on the brink of eruption. What is it that makes this matter to you? Anna's voice cut through the air, sharper and louder than she had meant, teetering on the edge of a shout. This is my existence. You cannot fathom the trials I've faced, nor can you comprehend the depth of my solitude. Evelyn's expression remained steadfast. You're right, I don't know everything, Evelyn replied, her voice soft yet laden with significance. However, I am certain of one thing. You are unraveling not only your own being but also impacting everyone in your vicinity. Anna sensed her vulnerability, laid open to the world. She lingered in that moment, caught in the tension between Evelyn's icy, penetrating stare and the eerie stillness of Stellan. All the justifications, all the excuses she had spun for herself now seemed utterly hollow. She was merely a woman ensnared, overwhelmed by emotions that eluded her grasp. Lucas will never understand, Anna murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. She averted her gaze, her eyes glimmering in the moonlight that filtered through the fissures of the barn wall. He has never truly grasped the essence of who I am. Not quite. Is that the reason behind your actions? Evelyn moved nearer, the space that separated them dwindling to mere footsteps. Anna, my purpose is not to pass judgment on you. However, it is essential to grasp the situation. Your current actions will not lead to the liberation you believe they will. It will only exacerbate the situation. Anna felt the urge to dispute, to raise her voice and proclaim that Evelyn was utterly oblivious. Yet, how could she refute the veracity of Evelyn's statements? How could she turn a blind eye to the undeniable truth that she had traversed a boundary from which there was no return? A sharp sound pierced the stillness, slicing through the quiet with the precision of a knife. Anna halted abruptly, her gaze darting toward the source of the noise. The car's headlights cast a sharp beam across the field, cutting through the night with precision. Lucas! Her heart clenched, and a chill washed over her, leaving her frozen in position. Evelyn cast a look at Anna, her keen eyes softening ever so slightly, a flicker of unusual sympathy dancing in her gaze. You need to decide, Anna, Evelyn said, her voice softer now, yet still firm. At this very moment. Confront your actions or allow yourself to be consumed by the chaos you've created. Anna's breath came in rapid bursts as Lucas's car approached, its headlights casting a glow on the barn wall and revealing her ashen, troubled visage. She found herself at a loss, uncertain of the words to utter or the actions to take. She was acutely aware that each hidden secret, every suppressed emotion, was now precariously poised on the edge of revelation. Anna, Evelyn declared once more, her tone resolute and steadfast. This is your moment to decide, and the power to make that decision rests solely with you. Anna cast a glance at Evelyn, then shifted her gaze to Stellan, before finally returning her attention to the oncoming headlights. Her thoughts swirled in a tempest of confusion, yet her heart beat with a piercing clarity that transcended all else, as if it sought to lead her through the turmoil. In that instant, she understood she had exhausted all avenues of escape. The headlight sliced through the night, casting a brilliant glow on the barn door and highlighting every nuance of Anna's troubled expression with piercing clarity. She remained still, as though the very essence of time had come to a halt. Evelyn stepped back, creating a gap for Anna, yet she remained in place. Evelyn's keen gaze, typically frosty and resolute, now possessed a serene, observant calmness, as if she were biding her time for Anna to reach her ultimate conclusion. The vehicle halted just beyond the threshold of the barn. Lucas emerged, his towering figure stretching a lengthy silhouette beneath the piercing illumination of the headlights. The car door closed with a sharp thud, and the stillness enveloped the surroundings once more. He paused, glancing around the surroundings for a moment before making his way toward the barn. "Is that you, Anna? Is anyone home?" Lucas called, his voice steady, just as it had always been. Yet to Anna, it resonated like thunder rumbling through the quiet night. She pivoted to face him, their gazes locking, and in that fleeting moment, she understood he possessed a secret. Perhaps it lacked clarity, perhaps it was merely an instinctual sensation, yet he was certain. "I couldn't sleep," she said, her voice steadying as best as she could manage, though the tremor in her breath betrayed her. "I simply wished to inquire about Stellan." Lucas entered the barn, his gaze shifting from Anna to Evelyn, who lingered a few steps away, quiet and motionless like a shadow. His brows knitted together, his eyes darting between the two women, sensing the unvoiced tension that lingered thickly in the confined room. "Is there something happening?" he inquired, his voice laced with curiosity, his gaze searching. Evelyn remained silent. Anna was aware that she would not. This was her moment to confront the truth, to embrace the responsibility for all that she had fought so hard to conceal. Every gaze was fixed upon her, and she sensed that all avenues had converged into one singular focus. She could choose to deceive once more, extending the heavy weight of hidden truths and remorse. Or she could face it all head-on, the shame, the pain, and the vulnerability that had long haunted her. Her gaze drifted toward Evelyn, whose demeanor, serene yet resolute, bore an unmistakable challenge. Then to Lucas, whose eyes, though brimming with concern, held a flicker of uncertainty she couldn't overlook. She understood that she could no longer evade the inevitable. "Lucas," she began, her voice heavy with feeling. I have something to share with you." Lucas stood still, his gaze sharpening with a hint of bewilderment. He remained still, his eyes fixed on hers, silent and unwavering. Evelyn tilted her face, taking a step back as if to offer them a moment of solitude, yet she remained within the confines of the barn. Anna inhaled deeply, her thoughts swirling like a tempest, each word caught in the web of her throat. She reflected on the moments when she had truly lost herself, the instances when she gazed into Stellan's eyes and discovered the comfort that Lucas had never managed to provide. She contemplated the longing, the embarrassment, the hopelessness, and realized that if she remained silent now, those emotions would confine her for all eternity. "I felt so alone, Lucas," she said, her voice trembling as tears cascaded down her cheeks. "It has lingered within me for an eternity, and I find myself at a loss for how to break free from its grasp. Everything with you, everything between us, feels as though it has lost all significance." Lucas hesitated before replying. He remained motionless, his gaze probing into hers, as if he sought to unearth the reality concealed within her statements. "What are you trying to convey, Anna?" His voice resonated softly, each syllable carrying a palpable weight. She continued, her voice catching in her throat, "I've been seeking solace in a place I know I shouldn't. I find myself adrift, Lucas. I'm at a loss for words, yet I sense that I've ventured beyond a boundary." Lucas took a step back, his eyes growing wider, as if the words spoken were too astonishing to comprehend. He repeated, his voice rough and barely audible, "Crossed a line. Anna experienced a tightening in her chest, as though an unseen force were gripping her heart. "I'm not quite sure how to put it into words," she said. "I am acutely aware that I have strayed too far from my intended path, and the possibility of reclaiming what was lost feels increasingly elusive." She steeled herself for the impending fury of Lucas, anticipating his shouts or a dramatic exit. Yet he did not. He remained motionless, gazing at her, his expression a complex web of feelings she found impossible to unravel. At last, he uttered a word, his tone deep and weighty. "Do you still hold love for me, Anna?" The mere utterance of that question dismantled the fragile barriers she had managed to uphold. Anna gazed at him, tears cascading down her cheeks. "I'm uncertain, Lucas. I find myself at a loss now. Yet, I yearn to rediscover it. I seek to comprehend the reasons behind our current state of being." Evelyn held her silence, yet Anna sensed her presence, firm and unwavering, observing it all. With a silent resolve, Lucas pivoted and exited the barn, leaving behind the unspoken tension that lingered in the air. His silhouette dissolved into the soft glow of the car's headlights, leaving Anna there, more hollow than she had ever known. Evelyn drew near, her keen gaze now imbued with an unexpected tenderness. "You did the right thing," she said, her voice soft yet resolute. Anna remained silent. She pivoted to face Dullan, who remained rooted in place, his deep, dark eyes fixed on her as though they contained all the answers she sought but could not uncover. She moved nearer, her fingers gliding softly through his mane for what felt like the final time. At that instant, she realized the course of action she must take. She was compelled to exit the barn, to abandon the shadows into which she had permitted herself to descend for an eternity. Outside, the moon persisted in casting its frigid light, and in the night's embrace, Anna moved on, burdened by pain and regret, yet clinging to a glimmer of hope that, perhaps one day, she would rediscover her true self.